FatEnzo.com. FatEnzo.com.
Hello, I'm Christian Acosta. What's your name? Outstanding. Welcome to Bobby Pickles Podcast.
That's me.
Yeah, we've got seats that are winnable. Smartest person in Palm Beach County right now, supervisor of elections. Switch to be a D. In a county where running as a D gets you elected automatically.
Yep.
That's what we need to do. We need to sneak people in, get them to switch when they're halfway through. We'll deal with the repercussions afterwards, but then go, wait, I did like them. It wasn't bad. That's a good strategy.
No, it
but
works.
We have zero strategy.
All right. With us today is Christian Acosta. Christian Acosta is running for District 21. He's running for Congress in our district here. And I feel like you're like the front runner. All right, but I really don't know. I mean, we're in the midst of this primary and stuff, and it's the beginning and everything like that. But I don't know what it is.
Primaries are
that
hard
makes
to
me
tell.
feel like you're like kind of like legitimate. I don't know.
Well, we've been doing this for a while, going out, talking to as many people as possible. You know, my parents have been here for 20 years. I grew up here, so we've got a lot of friends. And primaries are hard to tell because the number of voters in a primary is 20,000, 30,000. So it's really, really tough to know. But we've got a lot of people supporting us.
I usually do like a bio in the beginning, but I'm sorry, I really didn't have like a lot of background on you. I just whatever I got was from your website.
Yeah.
And a little bit about you. You went to the University of Florida for engineering, is that right?
Yes, I did. I went to UF, studied nuclear engineering. Worked in
Nuclear
power
engineering.
plants, yep. Who
Wow.
does that, right?
And then I read somewhere that you were living in New York during Sandy.
No, I was in Pittsburgh.
You're in
But I went to
Pittsburgh.
New York to help them fix the Montague Tunnel. I was working for a railroad engineering company, and when that tunnel was flooded, you saw half of New York was flooded. We were just
Yes,
talking about that.
yes.
And that tunnel was destroyed, and the mayor wanted it ready to go so that school students could use it the coming school year. So he was riding our butts getting it. We got to replace everything inside. It all had to be tore up, and I helped do some of that stuff. It's pretty neat. The
Yeah.
inside a subway tunnel is pretty scary sometimes.
That's pretty cool. Now, so then what made you start getting into politics? Is this your first run for political seats? Why do
Yeah.
I feel like you're kind of like a front runner when is this your first venture into politics?
This is my first run for politics, yes. I've always been interested, and I've always wanted to get involved, but I never really saw what the right time would be. I figured this was something you do when you're like old, since, everybody in Congress is
now,
like 90,
so now,
right?
right?
Well, I guess now, that's what my wife says. But no, I got a chance to get involved. I moved back. I was in Pittsburgh for a number of years because that's where I got my job. I had to go work. I met my wife there, and we had a chance to move back, and this was about 3 years ago. And I had a chance to get involved. And one of the things that I love right now about how things are going, and I love about our president, is he's energizing people, and he's showing that it doesn't have to be the same old way it was before. New people can get in. And I remember watching him in Pittsburgh. During the primary, we were all trying to pick who of our, 30,000 people were going to be the nominee we'd support. And I saw him in Pittsburgh talking. And he would come in, nice personal, doing his thing, and talk about the issues that affected Pittsburgh and the Midwest. And every single man I talked to in that entire area, inside that whole convention center with 6,000 people, every single man I talked to was a steel worker, union, Democrat. And I asked him, hey, I didn't know. I'm like, why are you here? This is a Republican candidate. And they just look me straight in the eye and they say, look, this is the only guy who's talking for me. And that made a big impression on me. I said, we've got to try and change the way we normally do things. We've got to go after voters that are not being served by their party, and we can win stuff. And I was really super excited. So fast forward 2 years later, and our Republican Congress hasn't helped him very much. And we elect Nancy Pelosi again and all that crap. And I say, look, we got to get involved. We got to do something. Lois Frankel hasn't helped this district in all the 8 years she will have been here. Nobody can name what she's done. We're going to go do some like crazy cab videos where we get people in the cab and we ask them, hey, who's your congressperson? And they won't even know. That can't be right. So I said we're going to take the
I don't know
plunge.
why
We're
I
gonna do
failed
it.
to mention this, but you're obviously a Republican.
Yes.
And you're running in the Republican primary for District 2021. And who are you running against that you fear the most?
That I fear
Let me
the
guess.
most?
Mike Velarde, correct?
To be honest,
Yes.
nobody.
Loomer.
I don't fear him. Nah.
Who do you think is gonna be like pretty decent opposition for you? Anybody?
Honestly, I don't really know how to answer that because it depends. Some of them I think have better speaking. Some of them I think have better messages. Some of them just have money. So I can't really say. As far as scared, no, you can't be afraid of any of these people. First of all, they're normal people. They're good. Most of them are from this area, so they're friendly. And second, you just got to go out there and talk to the voters, right? I'm not competing against them. I'm competing against the voters and what the voters want.
Yeah.
They're the ones I have to appeal to.
Ed,
So
I'm sorry for
we just gotta do it.
I'm sorry for yelling at you, man, and cutting.
When I'm done with you.
Oh my God, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's done.
You offended him.
Dude, I apologize.
It's all right. All right, I'm over it.
God, you're talking. You guys were chit chatting away before the podcast started, and geez, let's harness some of that energy again. What were you guys talking about over
All right,
there?
well, no, you asked a really good question. Who's his opponent? And
Yeah.
so, well, I love when people say it's so good not being in politics, because when I was in politics, I had to give the same crap answers.
Yeah.
And I hated it. The truth of the matter is, and I say this to everyone, I said it to Velarde when he was here, look, if you're not against those people, then drop out of the race and support one of them. So clearly you're against them. We all know. And we all know who the front runner is. It's whoever has the most money. That's how politics is. So Christian's got to go out and raise a bunch of money. That's the truth of the matter. The message, some of them have better messages. Really, you guys have all the same messages, except for Laura Loomer, and I'll say her name. Her message sucks. Her message, she has 5 issues on her page. They're all video issues because she likes doing that. And 3 of those issues, of the 5, 60% of the issues that are important to her are about her.
Yeah.
One is about her, one is about
That's
her
pretty
First
true.
Amendment right, and the other one is about her First Amendment right. And then the others, I'm not even sure, her safety. So
Hey,
I
she
will say one
she
thing,
got a
though.
pretty decent
We do
ovation at the Trump
have
45.
some different issues. We do have some different issues. I got stuff the other guys aren't
yeah,
talking
I mean,
about.
well,
We'll get into it.
I mean, I like, and you,
I got better positions on energy. I got better
Well, you
positions
have a
on
position.
education. Oh, yeah.
yeah, these
go
guys, a
through
lot of
them.
them don't have them. I mean, you
Let's
look at
go through
Mike's.
them.
Talk about all you
Mike's website is terrible, and he's getting it better. But so you can't really tell. But your website actually is a really good website, and it does give a lot of information.
I try to put as much as I can. But,
And you know what? I think that people really need to go to the different websites, look at them, and see what it is and what
Absolutely.
the issues are.
One thing I liked what you said when I overheard you guys going back and forth. You said, "Oh, I'm going to win." You're like persistent. You're like, "I'm going to flip them." I like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like confidence and no, I don't care what you say. Oh, it can't be done. Blah blah blah. I will do it. I like
we
that.
were talking
Why do you
about
think
is
that? Why do you think that you're going to do it?
There's voting groups out there. You can divide people down or you don't have to. But there are voting groups out there who I know vote Democrat and who have family values that are lined up with us, who may not like abortion, who are
Exactly.
here because they want a better economy, who are here because they've left a country that is socialist garbage.
Yeah.
And they understand these
Because you're talking about the
things.
demographics of our district. Our district is highly Hispanic, right?
Our district has 13% registered Hispanics. That's a lot, and I can appeal to them. I want to tell them why our party is giving them the economy they came here to enjoy. We've got the message on education. We've been the ones, at least in the Tallahassee level, doing things that have been able to enhance scholarship opportunities for people who have come here legally. That's the stuff we do, but we don't talk about it. So, the other candidates, no, they don't talk about this issue. And that's what I'm going to go out there and do. Because look, if we don't learn how to win these votes, and this is what I like about Donald Trump, he doesn't back off any voting group. If we don't learn how to win these votes, then yeah, the Democrats will get the future that they're looking for, where they just demographic us out of elections. But they don't have any ability to solve problems. When they tell you, oh, we're going to help you economically, they can't. Unless you're directly receiving a check from them, which to be fair is actually not that many people of the electorate overall, unless you're directly receiving a check from them.
People in the electorate do receive checks.
I
didn't know that.
Well, some welfare programs and things like
Really?
that. But it's not the
And they're an
49%
elector?
Mitt Romney said.
Huh.
Well, I mean, the electorate is
Interesting.
in the voters.
Yeah.
But unless you're one of those people who directly receives something, so you kind of have to keep going with that program, most people don't get benefits from these crazy socialist ideas that the Democrats push. But they do get a benefit from Donald Trump's economy and the low unemployment. We've got to push that message.
Yeah, they just have
nonstop.
more programs, right? Just more stupid programs. And
Yeah,
this
but
and
nobody
blah,
can ever
blah,
qualify for them. If you don't know how to go and get them, and you don't know the people in downtown who can help you get them, the average person out there isn't going to get this program. Like, it's one of those sort of incestuous, you need to know the people and then you get the money. That's not helping out the community. So there's a lot we can talk about. I want to do better. I want to do better at 2-year programs, trade schools. I want to see more support for vocational and certification programs in the second years of high school, so that we don't have people just drop out because they don't think they're able to go to college. What about getting a couple credits towards a certification so you can go work as a trade? Whatever happened to those things? They're pushing ROTC out of high schools now. We barely even have that anymore. So there's a lot of stuff we can do federally with education that I think we have to. And I also want to see us bring back more business to Palm Beach County. I want to see, from personal, I'm biased, but there's not that many engineering firms here. I think we have a big opportunity to bring some aerospace back, especially with Donald Trump pushing the Space Force. People laughed at that, and I said, why would you laugh at that? It's a legitimate future industry, and we could be leading it. We could have jobs here. Why are you laughing at the potential improvement in Palm Beach County's economy? It doesn't make sense. So that's what we need to be pushing, and we got a good chance to do it. And I will tell you, this is a difficult district, but when we're able to win it, they will want to keep it, which means we'll be able to get a lot of stuff funneled our way. That's how this stuff works. When one of the local, when one of the local, I won't mention names, but when one of the local candidates, state representative candidates, won in a difficult district, the very first cycle, I think he got over $40 million in appropriations because they want to keep his seat. That type of thing happens on the federal level too. I will be able to help Palm Beach County, and that's all that matters.
Who's that, Mike Caruso?
You said his name. I wasn't going to.
Mike's a great guy. Love Mike.
That's correct.
Yeah,
Mike
we
is a
got
very
to
good guy.
actually work hard to get him reelected.
I'm glad
it's
that
be
they
tough.
actually in Tallahassee said, let us get you things to crow
Yeah,
about.
Mike works his butt off too,
Yeah.
and that's so
Who's
he
that?
takes it
What's
seriously.
that? Who's
He's
that
a guy
guy?
out of Boca Raton. It was always a Republican district, but we got zero support as Republicans there.
It was
and the
tough to
Democrats
win.
should have walked in.
It was tough
and
to
Mike
win.
was able to. He snaked that race, and it was a recount, and he did a great job.
He won by
and he's
34
proving that he
votes.
deserves that seat right now.
Actually, in truth, he won by 130-something votes, but the official count was 30-something.
Yeah.
It was Susan Bucher, old.
Yeah, she's corrupt. She's evil, corrupt, nasty, and those are her good traits.
They found boxes of votes.
Yeah, in her house.
What a joke. In her house,
Not
yeah.
really, but no one would be surprised.
You don't know for a fact that they weren't from her house.
I
You
do
actually
not,
did?
and I would not be surprised if they were from her house.
Well, if we copy the same reporting standards they use in CNN, we could just straight up say that an anonymous source found them in her house, right?
Sure. No, I'm good with that.
I'm
An
good, yeah.
anonymous source.
We agree.
A whistleblower.
With some.
When
Yeah,
I was
it was a
moving,
whistleblower.
when I was moving down here from New York, I was really conflicted. I didn't want to move down here because doing the podcast, I'm able to interview a lot of people, a lot of big movers and shakers there. Even like people, musicians, they're always touring. They come there at least twice a year.
Yeah,
I really
New York's
didn't want to
pretty
move to
cool.
Florida, but finding myself in Florida, this is like the eye of the storm when it comes to politics.
Florida's
it's pretty
awesome.
crazy.
Well,
this
we're
is like
purple,
this is a
but
very
it's gonna be
interesting
tough.
place to
We're
be
purple,
if you're into
but
politics.
we're pretty well run as a state. Like we have a
Yeah.
lot of good freedoms.
There's a lot of
You
Although
can do
Ron's
whatever
making it
you
stupid.
want.
HB 707 right now is a stupid bill that he's pushing. It's going to kill people's industries,
okay.
and
I've
I'm
heard of
really
it.
What do you
pissed
think
off at
about
him.
the trains?
But he doesn't have to know
I
that.
see. I think that
He doesn't have to
a
talk
really
about
good
the train
system.
That's a state deal. Don't get him
That's a
mired
state-
into that.
No, I will say one thing. The one thing I'm concerned with, specifically with Brightline, is I worked in the train industry for about 4 years, specifically on safety. So I wasn't building tracks or anything. We were putting in the safety equipment on the side of the roads. The one concern I have with Brightline is they ask for lots of money from our taxes to make expansions. But when it comes to doing even small things like fencing or security systems, gates, at streets, they put up all kinds of barriers. To me, that's a little bit of, I understand you got to make money, but there has to be a balance with safety. And they've been trying to also put liquefied natural gas from Jacksonville. There's a plant being constructed in Jacksonville. They want to put liquefied natural gas on the rails and take it down to Miami. There is no safe way to move liquefied natural gas if it gets into an accident, all right? Put it in a boat in Jacksonville Harbor, immediately offshore, and then ship it to Jamaica. They got a long-term contract selling it to Jamaica. That's fine. A boat's the safest place to put it. But I would not support moving it down the rail through all of our living area right here. It's too dangerous. And actually, Brian Mast has the same position. No moving LNG long distances over the rail. So that's the one thing that I will protect against.
No, Brian's done a great job as a congressman. In the
Well, he
beginning,
listens
he
to
had some
people.
issues, but now he's, he wants to be an independent thinker. And so he jumps the gun a little bit to think about his own thoughts, but then he starts listening and he weighs the options and comes around to the way I think. So that's always good.
Yeah.
But
There's so many people.
The
There's so many
Second
people
Amendment
on him.
stuff I get.
I know
don't
why
agree
he
with
did it.
that.
I don't agree with it.
But the
I know
thing is,
why
he
he did
listens
it.
to people. He has a good ability to read his district. His district is not the same as mine.
No.
So I respect that, and he's a great man.
No,
great
and by the way, what you
congressman.
said
He's on our
before,
team 100%.
I think it's even more in your favor, so you'll probably be more excited about this, but the Hispanic number is not 13%, it's 23%. That's a big number in this district. Black
I
is
saw the
15%.
registration. Voters or population?
Population.
Okay, voters is
You got to remember,
low.
voters vote the way they vote. The guys who aren't voted or aren't voting are the guys that you can get. You don't have to flip them. You just make them. And that's the one thing the Democrats do.
We got to do.
Right. And we do a big pile of ungats because the REC here sucks. And I don't want to beat around the bush, but they suck.
We have been beating their numbers recently on new voter registrations.
Yeah.
But the point is,
but they
the
register
new
people in the
small.
cemeteries. Yeah.
It won't be enough by the time the election rolls.
No, and it's a shame.
Registering voters is hard. It is hard, and the numbers you over.
It's not hard. Democrats are brilliant at it. They go to the college campuses. I see them all the time.
What's this voting thing over here? You see that, Ed?
Which one?
Did they just open up this little shop over here? It says it's like voting shop or whatever.
No, I didn't even see it.
You didn't see that over there?
No, right in our
Probably
neighborhood.
a registration mill.
Registration mill.
I'll tell you one
That's
thing
what
that
it
they
is.
did, which is disgraceful. My dad's from Puerto Rico. Half my family's Puerto Rican, and I know.
Argentinian, right?
The other side is, ¿de dónde? Mayagüez. Eso es donde estudió mi papá. Sí, well, that's where he started. My family's from Ponce, Santa Isabel in the south. And right after the hurricane leveled everything, you start to see there's been waves of emigration.
And
it's
Trump
true,
didn't allow
which
the
is
toilet
unfortunately-
paper and everything.
Yeah, all that garbage. The Democrats were waiting in the Orlando airport. They were there with registration stuff. They were there with their little banners. Politics in Puerto Rico is not the same. It's not Democrat, Republican. It's a little bit different. They have a different association with the color blue, so they show up with blue. They're like, look, democracy. Register for us, and people just register, even if they don't really necessarily agree with it.
Yeah, Republicans
They're
were busy.
slick. We don't do that.
I think
Why weren't we there?
Because we were at a dog track going, rah, rah, look at us. Let's pat ourselves on the back and say how great
But
we
they
are.
do pull up in
I
a
probably was at one of those.
Yeah, I know. You were at all of them. I know. You got to do it. I don't have to.
They pull up in a bus, give people free food, come on
Yeah.
in, sign
No, they're creative.
It is pretty messed up.
But
Use
it's
the
disgusting
polls.
because at the end of the day, they found 1 million water bottles. Did you read about this? Over $1 million or something
Yeah.
worth of water
Oh,
bottles
on
the
sitting in a warehouse or something,
Yeah.
expired. I don't know how water expires, but it's sitting there in the warehouse, never got distributed. You're right, it is a plastic. And I think that was all because of the mayor of San Juan, who is a Democrat affiliate, effectively.
I know, she was
so
horrible.
we didn't cause that problem. Donald Trump didn't prevent that from getting in there. It's
Yeah, but you know
a
what's
bunch of
stupid
BS.
about that?
Problem with Puerto Rico is corruption in government there, and that's the truth. That has always been the truth.
Well, they've got the amendments, the 21 and 23, where you can go in there, no taxes and everything else. But what was stupid with that, they're all fighting to get these little water bottles over there. And they had like 1 million water bottles, like you
Yeah.
said, just sitting there doing nothing. But that's politics. They feel good when they can stand in front of, and that's Republicans too. Look, we're bringing water bottles. So instead of bringing, like a pallet of water bottles weighs about 10,000 pounds. And so a plane can take maybe 2 pallets, like not a cargo plane,
Right.
but a decent plane could take like 2 pallets, 20,000 pounds. And so they get 20,000 bottles of these, water, and they bring them down to give them to people. And then all you have left is the PET. You have plastic. You have nothing else left. So I arranged to get down there, a water treatment plant, so we can actually take
Portable stuff, yeah.
And so we can make with the sun it's solar generated, which will also make power while it's doing it, and generate 30,000 gallons of water every day. So then when you're done, you don't throw this out, you fill it back up.
Right.
But that's how politics is. Oh, let me get the picture of me in front of the PET thing and, look what I'm providing. Meanwhile, the guys in the background, the REC members are doing this. The guys in the background are going, let's do something that actually matters.
Right.
And that's why we need people to step up that are real people that are going to actually do something.
Well, you've got to go one step further, too. The problem we know, which is what ends up happening, the problem we know is that the most difficult places to help are going to be the small towns in the mountains that have mudslide risks, that have no good roads, and you're not going to be able to easily get there with helicopter. Those are the ones that they ended up putting on TV later, months later, saying, look, we still haven't helped Puerto Rico, even though 90-something% of the power is back on. They go and they focus in the small places that are hard to help. But we had no plan to distribute support and supplies to those areas. We didn't have any way to go and take them. You can't take them pallets of water every day.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
But you can drop some sort of portable generator, things like that. That wasn't done.
Yeah.
That level of planning, which is supposed to be what
Yeah,
FEMA
nothing.
does,
And all
I don't
that
know
money?
what they do.
No,
There wasn't
crap.
more than enough money. Well, yes and no. There was more than enough money for the disaster effort. There wasn't proper planning to deliver it to the hard places to get to. And I'm not blaming the response. They did fine. But, predictably, you had the areas that were difficult, and that's what they put up on TV. And as far as the utility grid, they haven't fixed their utility grid in 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
We basically just paid for them to get a new utility grid.
We paid for it. They didn't put it in, though, yet.
Well, that's true. I'm
Yeah.
sure something else is happening because they
Yeah.
also have a bunch of background. My uncle used to work for the medical system. Pensions are not funded. They've got trouble meeting all the pension systems for the police.
Well,
They've got
82% of the
huge
people work
issues.
for the government. So
Yes.
you're kind of looking at a big pension system that no one can really afford.
Yes.
And there's $73 trillion.
82%?
82%.
It's very, very
It's
high.
crazy.
It is the future that Bernie Sanders wants to give you.
Yeah.
Yes.
That in Venezuela. It's a big
Hey,
fight.
it looks like he's going to be the nominee, though,
no,
right?
they're going to steal it from him
Are you
again.
serious?
Yes,
No,
of course.
They're going to try to. Yeah, but see,
They'll steal it from him,
you
give
think
him
he's
another
gonna
couple
win?
houses.
I knew he would have won last time, man. He would have.
They did job him for it.
He would have won, and that.
But Hillary Clinton was the most
it
qualified
honestly-
woman in the world.
Yeah, it honestly would have been an interesting race though, because they're both populists, and it would have been an interesting race. That would have been a fair race to see what happens. But I think if they were smart, they would let him win. They would.
Bernie Sanders, I
Because
don't
I
know.
think that he could actually probably
Here's
win.
the
There's a
thing.
lot-
I agree with you. Last cycle, I think some of the luster's worn off him. I
His
think he was
policies have come to
strong.
light because he had to
Yeah.
go way left with Elizabeth
They
Warren.
forced him to explain
He had to compete
stuff.
with her.
If he doesn't have to give details, he's good. But I feel like he was strong against Clinton and they jobbed him. I feel like now he's actually kind of weaker.
Now, do you go down to the REC over here? That
Oh, dude, he's there
dis-
constantly.
Yeah,
he's
I-
Mr. REC, and then when
He's over
Loomer
there-
got in a race, they turned his back on him.
No, not all. Of them.
Not
Most
all of them.
still help me.
Just the idiots. And then the other idiots stayed
because
with
I know you have a strong opinion about the REC.
They
and
suck.
They're out there doing the rah rah
Here's
rah.
the thing.
They're never out there. They never
when
support.
you get elected, and we actually had someone on my campaign when I was running for Congress that was on the TV, and she had a runoff, and she got elected, and the results are going for like precinct number 2,137,
Right.
and I'm like, oh my gosh. So it is a serious thing. It's just these people are devoid of intelligence, leadership, strategy, anything, It's just the way that it is. And what frustrates me, they're nice people, and some of them I
like
count
a lot
as
of them,
friends.
to be fair.
But they have a job to do. And when you take that position, you either do the job or you don't do it. And they like the social aspect of it. Look how special I am. And they got to go out and they got to bust butt. And they don't. That's what pisses me off with them. Not that they're lovely people. A lot of them are great friends of mine. But inept as a bag of freaking hammers. And the truth of the matter is, when your kid needs surgery, what are you going to do? Go to someone who's an REC member and clueless, or go to someone who's qualified, like a surgeon? You're going to go to the surgeon who's qualified, not an REC member because they're a member. And that's what sucks,
All right,
because
I'll
you're kind of
tell
getting
you-
I'll
railed
tell you
on.
this
Yeah,
much.
sorry,
One
sorry.
thing, though. To be fair, I do know a lot of them. They're good people. They've been helping me and supporting me, believe it or not. And I don't have the history going way back because I've only started doing a lot of political stuff in the last 2 years. But they are getting more organized. You will see a lot of volunteers. There's a lot more structure. There's more meetings. There's more phone calls and getting people prepared. It may not be up to the standards you're looking for, but it'll be better than it has been in the past. I promise you.
And,
they
and
really
the
are
one thing
working
I
it.
always say is sucking less doesn't mean it doesn't suck. And
You
the truth
still
of the-
got to go in the right direction.
But the truth of the matter is, and with all due respect, they say they're supporting you. Listen, I'm saying this
Oh.
not to you. I'm saying it to them. If you're supporting Christian, get off your asses and write him a check. None of you people did. So that's what pisses me. You want to know who supported you? Look at your campaign
I know.
contributions.
Yeah.
That's who supported you.
Yep.
So all these people sitting there going, "Oh yeah, I support you." Prove it. Write
All
a
right,
check.
so when
I
it comes
know.
down to it, all those guys that gave to Loomer,
All those guys that gave the Loomer,
They gave
nobody
is
knows
that what
them.
happened? How
And
did they- how
I'll
did
say
they
it for
get-
Christian. They're
you
all
just-
out of state.
They
They're not
are
from
actually
here.
mostly out of state.
you just said that they kind of let Christian down, the REC, and he was all about it.
Yep.
How? Like that's with their
No,
pocketbooks,
he
right?
was saying they support him. They don't support him. You support him, write him a check. Write the guy a damn check.
Here's
I don't give
the
him
attitude.
$100.
Here's the difference, all right? And this is a little bit long, but I'll try. It is important. AOC in New York, travesty of injustice to the entire humanity. But that shows you they had a manager, a plan, some material, coaching, a message. They created a candidate. She didn't necessarily come in and say, "This is what I want to do." They went and they found her. They created a candidate and
Yes,
they ran it.
yeah, they did, yeah.
We don't do that.
That is
We
so
wait
insane.
for the magical person with millions of dollars to fall into our hands. And in a district like this, which is not easy for us to win, that person doesn't run here. They go run in an easier district. So the people you get here are first-time politicians, people that don't have as much money behind them, but could be good. You need a group that is willing to support them. The difference between doing nothing and putting even $20,000 behind someone with a structure and some advice is night and day. And we don't do that. And that's not unique to just Palm Beach. We don't do that as
I know,
Republicans
Broward's
in general.
kinda bad, yeah.
So the point is,
Pinellas.
they don't do that. They think somebody needs to come and be ready to go. So when they see somebody that has a good message and has a real chance because I've got an angle that I can go and I can talk to Hispanics, we can do something. They're like, oh, well, that sounds good. But they're not willing to go and necessarily put a structure behind them. So when somebody else comes and just, flashes a bunch of money, they're like, oh, well, we have to go that way. No, you don't. You can help create the candidate that can win the district because you want to be represented by that person. If character matters, then choose the person with the right character. Don't just go with the person who has money because, oh, well, that's what we have to do. That's the mentality where they don't think they can do anything. But they can.
So
I love the people who tell me, well, you need to raise money. The first thing I think of, because I can't say this, is, well, you can help me do that.
Well, you should. Well, you
can
say
start the role.
No, you have to say that. You got to be. I
have to be diplomatic.
Yeah, you got to ask.
I do ask. You're right.
I'm terrible. I was terrible at asking. I didn't want to.
It's tough.
Oh, I hated it.
It's
how do you
really
go to your
tough.
friends? And then if you can't convince your friends and your family, how you can convince anyone else? I mean, and look, I look at all the reports. I know who contributes to everybody. And I'm like, his dad didn't even give him $1. What the heck's up with that? His dad don't like him. And so, there's a lot of that. It's
my
difficult.
dad did give me $1. Actually, Laura Loomer, in a little debate, she insulted me because my parents didn't donate. I didn't say anything because she looked so bad doing it.
Yeah.
I was about to tell her, would you like to go badger my 95-year-old grandmother because she didn't write me a check? Would you? I'll give you her phone number.
$5. She should have written you $5.
She did give me a check actually
all
for
right,
a couple
good
hundred.
For her, then. Nice.
So
Yeah.
Republicans don't really groom.
No,
their
we have
candidates?
zero.
We don't.
minor
That's not
league.
unique to
Wasn't
us here.
Obama groomed?
I don't
geez.
actually know
Basically,
100%,
he
but
popped out of nowhere, right?
He must have been to run for president so quickly.
Yeah.
Well, even to run for the senator
Senate,
position. And
yeah,
then
that was so
Senate.
fast.
He
You have
ran
to
2
have
years state
support.
senator, 1 term.
Yeah.
U.S. senator, 1 term president.
Yeah.
It's like unheard of.
No, it was so quick.
that's
that's what I'm
definitely
saying. Like it
preparation.
was almost like they.
But you
got
got to
him
respect
and
the
started
machine.
grooming him.
Their
Yeah.
machine is scary, and
Yeah.
it works.
It is, and it works.
We need to learn the right lessons from
How
it.
did they know to take AOC and start grooming her? Like,
Well, that
what?
was specifically the Bernie Sanders communist group, whatever they're called, Justice Democrats. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what it is. Let's be honest. The Justice Democrats, they're looking for people. And man, Joe Crowley, he's a guy he was a guy of stature. They were thinking of him for potential leadership. He is so arrogant that he didn't even put any time
Didn't
and
run.
money. He could have bought enough votes, like literally just bought the votes to win that primary.
Yep.
I want everybody to understand, AOC is not magical. She won a grand total of, what was it, 15,000 votes,
Yeah.
16,000?
Yeah.
She won 16,000 votes in a primary.
She was running unopposed, right? Or
No.
Joe Crowley was the incumbent.
Crowley, the
No, I
incumbent.
know.
But he didn't
she,
do
in her-
anything.
in her prime.
No,
wait,
no.
She
primary
she beat
Crowley.
him.
She primary Crowley.
He got
Yeah.
10,000 votes. That's how pathetic, and he's a many-year incumbent. She won by getting 15,000 votes. I will get 15,000 votes in the primary. That's all she did, and then she automatically wins because, as Nancy Pelosi says, a glass of water with a D could win her district. And that's what happened.
Yeah.
The
No,
glass
it's
of water
terrible.
probably has better policy positions
And
than
speaking,
AOC.
we've got an AOC of the GOP right here.
Yeah, that's what they
I'm
market
saying
it
it.
as.
That's Laura Loomer.
That's
She's the
exactly
AOC
how
of the
they
GOP.
market her. That's exactly how they
Oh my
push it.
God.
And I say, why do you want that? They're running from her on their own side.
Yeah.
Foresight here, folks.
I have a question about the Puerto Rico thing you said earlier.
Yeah, what's
up? How do their votes count? I mean, is it
Only federal.
They are not allowed to vote for any federal elections. What they do get to do is both parties give them votes in the party primaries. So there will be, like Marco Rubio won the 20-something primary votes last cycle when he was running against Trump. But they don't get to vote in federal government. On the other hand, the other hand, though, is they don't pay any taxes. Here's the way it works. They don't pay any taxes, federal taxes. So they've got their own system. I think they get an observer, I'm not sure, in Congress, but they don't get any vote.
It's not a real one.
Yeah.
It's like the other islands that we have, the territories.
Exactly. They
Guam.
get to count in the party primaries, and on the other side, they can be drafted. My father was drafted.
Let me ask you a
during
question.
Vietnam.
Do you have any like aspirations to try to fix that and make them more legitimate?
I honestly, here's the thing. It has to be by people who live there, but it's very evenly split. Just so you know, they may make this sound like on the Bernie Sanders camp that there's people in Puerto Rico who want independence. That they get less than 10% of the vote every time. It's generally between we're fine and we want to become a state, and it's pretty even. I think that it would be beneficial for Puerto Rico to become a state.
Do you think it will happen?
Ever, yes. Soon, no. They need to be able to solve a lot of the current pension problems. Like, it's going to be difficult to convince both people in the island and then people here in Congress to say, yeah, bring them on board when they could, like, bankrupt, right? It's a difficult argument. I think we should do it. because then I think it's going to be easier to have oversight, and we're going to be able to reduce some of the corruption. But it's a long road.
Were you born in Puerto Rico?
No, I was born in England.
Oh, okay.
U.S. Air Force tour. My dad was in college, and he made some changes, decided to go into the Air Force. When he was in the Air Force, he was in Air Force Basic, and he literally got his Vietnam draft. And they said, "Do you want to go in the Army?" And he's like, "No, I'm good. I'll go into the Air Force." So he finished, and then he made a career out of it. I think 12 or 13 years in, he went to OTS, became an officer, and then he was stationed over in Europe, where I was born. In London, we were there for a couple of years, and then he went to Madrid, and we were in Madrid for 5 years, and that's where I sort of learned.
I was just trying to figure out if you could run for president or whatever.
I can. I'm a citizen from birth. I'm a citizen from birth.
If somebody is born in Puerto Rico and they want to run for president, can they run for president?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Man, imagine the candidate that wins Puerto Rico over.
Yeah.
That'll be amazing. Turn it into a state.
I mean, it's a long road, but I think it's beneficial for the island to become a state. And I think it's going to help everybody. I really do. Because first off, you want the island not to... I want everybody to have a good life. And if they want to come here to Florida, great. If they want to go to New York, great. But I don't want them to do that at the expense of the island. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. I want the island also to succeed. I think it's better if the island's economy is stronger, because then you're going to have people coming back and forth, but it's not going to be, oh, I have nothing else, I have to emigrate to Florida. That's a much more difficult situation. I want it to be a better economy. And Puerto Rico used to have a pharmaceutical industry. They used to have a lot more doctor training. They used to have rum distilleries and things like that. They still have, thank goodness, they still have tourism, but they don't have any of the other stuff. Half of my family in Puerto Rico are doctors. They all trained in Santo Domingo, in the Dominican Republic. You know, it's a shame, but it should be done.
How are they faring with all the earthquakes that are going on or whatever?
I called my aunts the other day. Earthquakes are rare recently, but they're not rare for Puerto Rico in general. There is a Caribbean plate; it just doesn't move that much.
I didn't even know that those happened here.
Yeah, it's super rare.
Close to here.
They live in Ponce, which is pretty near, well, relatively near where the epicenter was. They didn't have any cracking in the roads yet, but over at what's the town that's real close to the epicenter? Whoa. Anyway, I don't remember the name, but in that one town there were some fallen buildings and cracks on the roads and some power outages. But in Ponce, in the big city there, it's pretty okay. It's not that bad. But it's jarring, right? It's not something that's happened in the last 10 years very much. And they've been having a month worth of tremors. They get light tremor. So there's an energy release that's occurring. And they say probably the next 30 days, be on the lookout.
Yeah.
So it won't stop anytime soon. Hopefully it will not get worse. It'll just die down.
Ed, you talked to so many different candidates. Have you talked to Christian before?
No, not Christian.
Has he been through your office?
No, he hasn't gone through the grilling.
What are
a little bit earlier.
What are some of the things that you would grill him on? Go ahead, do it.
If I was,
you have carte blanche.
Again, we talked about the most important thing is raising money. Why? It's credibility.
Yeah.
Also, you need to buy signs. You need to do a whole bunch of different things. You know, it's really signs and TV. That's going to be it. And you need to get the message that Laura Loomer's going to cry in Alex Jones, and she can't do that when she's in Congress. I know Bobby hates when I say that. Yeah, and he prints shirts for her, and that's great.
Right.
So, but the truth of the matter is, this district with all these people running, some of the people really do have to step out. If they don't step out, you're going to win this. Whoever wins this primary can beat Loomer by knocking on doors. Doors will win because the primary winner could wind up with 4,000 or 5,000 votes in order to win this primary.
We're already door knocking.
Yeah,
every weekend.
That's going to be one of the biggest things. Shirts are important. Hats are important because it's just name recognition. Most voters are stupid. And so they vote based, that name seems good, like Hispanic people. They're going to be like, Acosta, that seems Hispanic. I'm going to vote for that person. It's just the way that it is.
Help.
A nice thing is...
Maybe the Democrats will think I'm Jim Acosta and vote for me.
Maybe. I doubt it, though.
I thought that when I heard
I'll take it. No relation, by the way.
That's important. Getting your message out in such a way that you understand that you don't have time to get your message out. You don't have time to, educate anyone.
Right.
It's just impossible.
You can door knock for a primary, which we will, but for a general election, it's impossible.
No,
you have to have money for that.
You have to have money, especially going against Lois.
We got a big fundraiser. We got a big fundraiser coming up in February, the 18th. It's on my website, voteacosta.com, if you want to check it out.
Where's the fundraiser going to be?
I don't think I can advertise it.
I can. It's at Trump International. Yeah, no, I totally can. It's a great idea. It's got Trump there. Maybe Trump sees a few other people because the people that Laura have, like to glom all that stuff.
You know what I just remembered? I remember that there is a hit piece written in the paper not too long ago, a couple days ago.
Oh,
by Jacob Engels.
Oh
yeah,
that guy.
The Central Florida Post.
That's ridiculous.
Can we talk about that, man?
Yeah, no, you got it.
I would like to bring that up. I mean, I'll ask you about that.
I'll answer any question you want.
No, I mean,
I never met the lady.
What's
don't
the
know
deal
anything
with
about
What's
it.
the deal with that? That's the Chinese
I'll
national
be,
who's
I'll be
over there.
straight up. That piece is put out there because the Loomer campaign made the guy do it. Like that guy has already written an article for her, like pro her in the Gateway Pundit like today. He worked for her. It says at the bottom of that very same article, he wrote for LauraLoomer.us. They're all buddies.
Jacob Engels is my friend. I know him.
You know,
and not for nothing, that's awesome.
He's done it in cahoots with them. Like, it's clear.
Yeah, but dude, if they're not hitting you, they don't consider you. And so that's a good
Here's
thing.
The thing
That is a good
bothers
thing.
Me.
Yeah.
I'm still just a normal, average person. I don't care if they come after me, whatever. But they're defaming two people who are supporting me, who are good people and don't deserve it, right? Like, literally, they said, well, one of your supporters has been in a picture with this lady once.
Oh, Sue Snowden. Yeah, that was terrible.
No, it wasn't her.
Oh, because that one, they got two of them in there.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, they were in a picture.
You've been in this picture with this lady once, therefore you're in cahoots with her. I'm like, that's defamation. By the way, there's a picture of Cindy Yang and Karen Giorno together. So I could write the exact same article that guy wrote about Laura Loomer's campaign. It's
yeah,
a
but
total
see,
hit
you're
piece.
a candidate,
campaign
so
manager,
they can
right?
say whatever they want, and it's not.
I don't mind that they say it
Yeah.
to me, but they're defaming my supporters. That's sleazebag stuff.
Well,
we're not supposed to do
that's
that.
politics.
Yeah, no, it's their politics. I don't defame their supporters. I'll just go right at them.
Yeah, and
I got no problem with
One
that.
thing with politics is it gets pretty dirty, and
it's the dirtiest sport on earth.
There's nothing, no rules.
It's filled with people that got their ass kicked every day in high school, and they said, someday I'm getting mine, and this is theirs. They feel important. They feel this self-worth. They get to go to an REC meeting and look all cool and do nothing. And, I mean, I love slamming them. It's my hobby. But the truth of the matter is, these guys get to go out there, and they're not making a difference for our country. And that's what's the most critical part. If you get in politics, like I always said, I may not deserve a better country, but I'll be damned if my kids don't.
Right.
And that's why I fight so seriously. I crack on candidates. I slam the piss out of them. If you can't handle me, you ain't going to handle freaking the other guys in U.S. Congress on the other side of the aisle.
Exactly.
So,
or on our side of the aisle.
Yeah, or at the REC meeting, believe me. There's a bunch of wusses. No strategy people. So
No, you got to be able to do it. You got to stand up. And most importantly, and I know this is cliche, but you do have to have a good message. If you don't have a good message, it means you don't really believe in anything. You're just there for yourself, or you're there for, going to the parties and all that crap. I don't actually find going to the parties all that much fun. The funnest part for me is this: talking to people, doing interviews, going out there. That's the funnest part for me.
What was the main thing that made you want to do this? What was like the critical thing? You were thinking about getting into politics at some point in your life? Have
There's
you
two
always thought
aspects
about that?
to it. One is just the simple, I have the opportunity to do it here because I know people and have connections and I have a chance. Two, this district deserves better than Lois Frankel. I grew up in this district. We have a diverse district. It's almost like a little microcosm in the U.S. We have every type of business known to man. It's a beautiful place to live. My daughter was born here. I'm going to raise my family here. And yet our representative is a rubber stamp for a political party that's backing socialism, abortion, and lack of laws. How can that possibly represent this district? Where's all the business helping us? Where's the education support we're supposed to get? Why haven't we really fixed the opioid problems here? Like, we deserve better, and we're clearly not going to get it unless somebody stands up and fights against them, and that's what I'm going to do.
What you concentrate on is more federal stuff, though, right? As a representative of the district?
Yeah, but bringing business here is part of what a federal business is supposed to do.
You wouldn't be able to, clean up the bum situation, right? I mean...
no, but wait,
I can help.
But this is
some of that
important.
I can help through the VA. The VA is building a building for veterans, but it's only like a 30-day housing facility. The VA can do things for a lot of the veterans are homeless or veterans. We can do more through the VA. That's federal. I can bring business here. Congressman, part of your job is supposed to be bring stuff to your district. That's not a wrong thing. That's the way it works. So I can bring businesses here. What business has Lois Frankel brought? That helps employment. So these type of things can be done. You just need to go out and give a damn. Lois Frankel doesn't give a damn.
Yeah, but here's the thing that we really need to focus on. There is one person who could have fixed the homeless problem, the opioid problem, the gang violence problem, the lack of business problem,
the ex-mayor of
the
West Palm
scumbag
Beach?
stuff that goes on in this city and everything else, and it's the ex-mayor of this
West
very city who is Lois Frankel. So if she couldn't do it here on a small level, there's no way this inept moron who I debated twice and had to give her own answers, there's no way this woman is going to be able to represent this district, which is bigger, in a federal manner, because she couldn't do it as mayor. Unless she could get her girlfriend and give her girlfriend another $800,000 to tell her what to do in something federally, she's not going to do anything.
How'd you get her to agree to a debate?
Oh, no, I didn't debate her. We were in a debate together.
Ah, okay.
And I'll tell this. This is a great story because, duh. So we're sitting in this debate together, and they ask a question, and I'm going through, and I know my answer because I did, that studying thing. And Lois leans back and goes to me, what, And I said, okay, my answer will be yes. Your answer will be no, because that's what your party says. She goes, all right. I answer yes. She answers no. She goes like this.
Oh, my God.
The next question comes up. She goes, what's my answer on this one? And my staff
Are you
was right there with me.
serious? Stop it.
I'm telling you the truth.
This
Like
stuff
cheating
is-
on a test?
This stuff is more of a
Cheating
game
on
than
a
you
test,
think.
but with the person that is opposing not her in that race, because we were in different races altogether. She was running for re-election, and I was running for Congress. And I'm just like, this is insane.
But that happens. In some races, they actually know each other. The two-party people who are opposite parties know each other, and they are not enemies. And a lot of this is theatrics. It's really scary
It's
how
all
much of it is made up. It's scary in some places, especially the ones that have a big machine politic history, where it's your turn, now it's my turn. They actually they give each other turns. They're like, okay, no problem, I'll pat your back next time. It's really corrupt in some places.
Wow.
Well, pretty much what? And Democrats are great at this. They go, listen, we're going to work together on this one, so you give me this one, I'll give you the next one. And then the Democrats get theirs, and all right, good. And then the Republican says,
We pay up
it's my
front.
turn now, so you're going to give me this one? And they go, nah, I'm totally not giving you this one. You're going to give me this one too. Then maybe I'll give you another one.
We pay
They're
up front
brilliant
like
at it.
idiots sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, that's what just happened with the impeachment. This impeachment is nothing more than Democrats having bigger balls than Republicans. That's all that it is. I mean, we could have blown the lid off of Obama, off of Hillary, off the DNC. We have Debbie Wasserman Schultz running in this district down here again. She got nailed cheating with the DNC to rig the election for Hillary over Bernie Sanders. She rigged the election.
And nobody ever calls them
No
out.
one
they
calls
never,
them out on
nothing
it.
ever
No,
happens
You get these
to them.
putzes at the stupid Sun Sentinel and the Palm Beach Post that are just water boys for them, carry their water and say, hey, now you're doing something good. You're voting against something.
And
No, they're
you
putzes.
notice a Democrat never really stands up and tries to primary her. Because you'd think that would be someone who could actually win by playing, hey, you betrayed our party and all that. But they fix it so that she doesn't even have a serious primary.
Yeah, no, Democrats
They
are
fix it
brilliant
all. It's
at
good.
fixing it. They literally say they have a minor league. For example, Maria Sachs is running for county commissioner over here in his district. Maria has been like everything. Susan Booker, who was just like corrupted everything.
Yep.
She didn't even live in her districts, which was mandated both times when she was in the state house and when she was in the state senate. And you're supposed to live in your district. She did not. Maria Sachs, by the way, had an apartment somewhere else while she was in Delray. So all of this stuff goes on, and they just move them from seat to seat to seat. And
That's
it's
what happened
name
to Frankel.
recognition
That's
and
what
everything.
happened to Frankel. Fun story, she does not even have her district office in our district. It's actually in Ted Deutsch's district.
Yeah. And she says, well, because that's where it was when they redistricted it and
Then move
everything
your
else.
office. You've got millions of dollars.
Yeah.
This ain't hard.
Or cut a deal with Nelson where Rick Scott has an office right downtown. Yeah.
She just does it. She really doesn't care. That's the point. She knows that she's just going to win, she thinks. And that way she doesn't care. I tell people, because I talk to, who knows who I'm talking to outside of Publix, right? It's anybody. And I get a lot of Democrats. And I tell them, look, you're not even represented. Nobody hears your voice in Washington. The only time they hear about Palm Beach County is when we screw up a recount. So you aren't represented by Lois
we're
Frankel
good
either.
at
Oh,
that,
she votes
though.
the way I want. Oh, what was the last thing she voted on? Nobody's represented by her right now, and that's what we got to fix.
Do you go down to Publix and just
Once in a while, hey, look.
it's like you're cold calling. It's like
You gotta get
a
petitions
sales,
somehow.
Job, right?
It's really not as bad as you think. Most of the people I talk to are Democrat. That's just the district. But a lot of them will listen, and they understand they're not going to agree with me on support for the president, whatever. But then they'll ask me stuff that is more rational, that they think that maybe we can talk about. Positions on environmental stuff or education. And a lot of them will actually pay attention. I had one woman probably in her 50s or so, who was listening to me while her mother was sitting there saying, "Why do you talk to them? They're all lying. The Republicans always lie." And after a certain amount of time, she had it with her mom, and she just turned to her and said, "Mom, this guy is just talking to me. You don't know him at all. Let him talk." And I found that refreshing. Like, all right, hey, maybe some people have an open mind. We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out.
I can't believe anybody would think that, though. The Republicans are the ones who are lying? Okay. Yeah.
Well,
Hey,
look,
if all you do
you're
is
not
watch
paying
CNN,
attention.
Here's the deal. If you're a politician, chances are you're lying. As soon as they open their mouth, they're lying. I don't care which side of the aisle we're getting screwed from. We're getting screwed from one side or the other. I mean, the only party that matters to the guys that are in D.C. are the party that they have at taxpayer expenses. They literally don't care. They just want to sit there and go, "Hey, I'm going to fight for my guys, and you're going to fight for your guys, and we're going to look like we hate each other, but we're still going out to Capitol Grill tonight on the taxpayers, right? Yeah, we'll be there." That's the deal. That is politics in a nutshell. As long as they can look like they're fighting for their guys are going to continue voting for them. The best campaign slogan that's ever been invented in the entire world is one word: re-elect. If you can say re-elect, you have a 97% chance of getting
advantage.
re-elected. That's the deal. And you can prove 9 to 13% approval rating for U.S. Congress, which means everybody hates them.
but everybody
But
loves their congressperson.
That's the
Yep.
deal. 96% get reelected because, well, no, I hate all the others, but my guy, I don't know, hasn't done anything for me or to me or with me, or I don't even know who it is half the damn time. But that's how they get reelected. The most important thing that you could possibly run on, reelect. Now, you can't run on that, but I'll tell you what, take the FEC hit, put it out there, see what happens. They'll yell at you a little bit, but at least you'll get it out there enough and see what happens.
We're gonna go run on a couple messages I think will be able to resonate with people. I think people have seen that you can actually get a better economy out of Washington, because most people think there's a lot of people out there, believe it or not, who don't believe that national level politics or even state level politics really tangibly affects their lives. They think it's all going to be the same no matter what. I think it's starting to be obvious that that's not true.
Not true at all.
We can go on a message of we have to continue to improve the economy. We have to protect against them taking away your tax cuts. I think we should be actually doing something for small businesses other than just talking about it. You notice that we always talk about small business support, but it never actually happens. I think we should have targeted tax cuts to small business expenses that are not going to just be rolled into, $50 million company. I think we can do a lot of stuff for individuals on education side who need to have some sort of certification or training. We talked about that, but I think we can really do a lot of work there. I know that I spoke with a good number of individuals in Delray, and we didn't get along on stuff with the president, but all of the education questions were, when are we actually going to make changes to Common Core? This set my students back, years. When are we going to have more support for after-school programs so that somebody can work longer hours because they got a tough thing going, but they know that their child's going to be able to be taken care of and maybe learn something. These are programs we can work on. These are things that we can actually go and help people, and I think that you'll be able to convince them, hey, pull that lever. Ron DeSantis won based on a good education message. He was able to get votes from 100,000 black mothers who people weren't expecting to be the electorate that would vote for Ron DeSantis, but he got those votes based on things like school choice and helping education improve. So I know we have a message that we can go out there with, and we'll be able to convince people. It's just a matter of, will it be enough? I think it will.
Yeah.
Yeah, and can you get to the general? I mean, in the general, yeah, I think another message that'll resound greatly. So this is free advice for you. But a message that'll resound greatly is a lot of people say, oh, well, only rich white guys have been benefiting from the stock market. The truth of the matter is, every firefighter who usually votes Democrat, every policeman who usually votes Democrat, every teacher who usually votes Democrat, ask them how their pensions are doing and their 401ks that they're getting from their unions that they're in. Every single one of them should be voting for this president and touting his bona fides because the stock market going up, all of these people that are not rich white people who are actually out there and putting their names on the line, on the front line in education and supporting us and protecting us, these people have all benefited greatly financially from this stock market going up. And the stock market has gone up for only one reason, consumer confidence, which is brought about by only one reason, President Trump, period.
It's double-sided. Your monthly paycheck went up, fact. Even your New York Times, if you're talking to a Democrat, even your New York Times said that 64% of Americans got a tax cut and their paychecks went up. So your paycheck went up and your pension's going up.
Yep.
Both sides. And it's because businesses know they don't have a president who's going to just flip-flop based on public interest and say, well, I'm going to regulate you into oblivion. People didn't pay attention to this, but I bet you did. And you probably did too.
No,
did
Bobby
you
did.
see?
No, I didn't.
Did you see? Well, hold up. There was a press conference.
Very,
There was a press
very
conference.
politician of you, though.
There was a press conference with Donald Trump interviewing a gentleman who had been fined like $30 million by the EPA or something. It was a ridiculous thing too. It was some sort of small fine that just spiraled out of control, and he couldn't do anything about it. It was based on regulations that he had since cut. So it was a press conference showing it. But that's the type of thing that kills businesses.
Yeah.
And you never see it being talked about, obviously, because the Democrats don't want to. You never really understand it because you can't go through like a 30-minute explanation of why this regulation is bad. But that's the type of things that he's been doing to make business confidence go through the roof. And that's exactly what we have to do. We have to make sure that the rules we have in place are there only if they make sense for this country and only if they make sense for employment. His focus on employment is absolutely critical. If we have high unemployment, that's when you get charlatans like Bernie Sanders actually win.
Yeah,
You have to avoid
Me
that.
and Ed talk about it a lot. Like, what all these politicians are all attorneys, and it's like attorneys don't even have a good business
No,
model.
their
It's like
business
just
plan sucks.
hey, let me just keep on billing you. Their business models.
What problems do they fix?
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but yeah, but do you have a business background? I know you're an engineer and stuff, and you
I
work for-
have a degree in management. I got it while I was at UF. But
Do you ever write a
accounting
paycheck?
stuff like that.
Have you ever signed a paycheck before? Huh?
Have I signed a paycheck? Yeah, kind of. I mean, I have small rental properties that I had, just 2 of them.
Yeah.
But I don't have any employees other than myself. Can't afford it.
Who do you think? Who would you have back in this race so far?
So far,
If I had a right now, tell me, Ed,
Don't
who's
answer incorrectly.
well,
honestly, genuinely.
the thing is, I look
Now
at
everybody says Laura's name. You saw that Trump 45 meeting.
yeah.
I was there.
Oh, that was
the other day.
staged, by the way.
Yeah.
That was 100% staged.
Well,
because-
because she probably purposely didn't sign her name.
They didn't
She purposely
know.
didn't sign her name when she came in, and then had him. say it.
Here's the truth, since
What?
everybody wants to hear it, right? You
Yes,
asked the question.
I did.
In the past, because I've been to all of these, she barely had like 1 or 2 people. She never shakes hands. She just sits at her table and waits for people to come to her. She didn't have any cheering section. She didn't have that many people there. She was never dressed up in a suit. At this one event, when this Brandon guy is speaking, and he magically decides he's going to give her a 2-minute shout out, even though nobody's supposed to be endorsing anybody. She happens to be in the front row, which she didn't pay for and wasn't on the list to be there. Had 2 rows worth of people with her who were all cheering her. She was in her nice white suit, knew exactly to stand up when he started to give her a shout out. Had 10 people there with like petitions and shirts. It was completely staged. Their entire candidacy is smoke and mirrors. There's no substance there. And if you really care about character, because by the way, that's what's going to actually stay with us for the next 5-10 years, then you should seriously consider what you're voting for, because you won't find a single answer on her positions on her website. So you tell me what you're getting. You're just getting an image. But that was all staged at that thing. And I know personally that the people who run that club were really pissed off that the guy did that endorsement because he's not supposed to. They were pissed off that Loomer's campaign put a picture up showing their club name and talking about the endorsement. They were pissed off she didn't pay for her ticket. So
they're pissed off about a lot,
you know.
but you know what? They could have at any moment stood up and said, "Here's the deal. We don't do this," and they don't.
I know.
And that's where the lack
I
of
told
balls
them that
is.
too. I said,
Yeah.
what is this?
No.
Because I play by the rules, they tie my hands. But she can just go break the rules and they say, oh, well, we'll send a letter out now so it doesn't happen again. I'm like, it already happened. They already got the benefit.
Yeah, that's like
you just
the
told them
CNN.
they can get away with it once.
Yep, CNN just put it out there. We'll apologize for it in 2 weeks after no one's going to.
Well,
be
Mr.
paying attention
Acosta,
anyway.
let me please just be. I'm just going to be honest with you. Okay?
Sure.
Transparent.
That's what matters.
Because I asked the question, and right now I really have to give you are a good dude. I can tell you're an awesome dude.
Yeah.
I can tell that you're doing it for the right thing. I really swear. I swear you very confident just speaking to you that you have this goal and stuff like that. And a lot of the stuff that you said is pretty awesome. But there's one issue that it pushes me to support Loomer, but I'm not like everybody else or whatever. I'm just like,
But what's the issue?
Trying to do stuff with the internet and getting crushed.
Ooh. No, what's the issue?
Just getting crushed on the internet for having like a conservative leaning voice or whatever, and then them shadow banning you and blocking you, and
Well, here's one thing.
all
I'll
of these
ask
things
you.
are happening.
I agree too. But my question is,
are you going to do anything?
What's she going to do about it? What has she told you?
Are you going to do anything about it?
Yeah, I will.
I think she. Yeah, I think.
No. But hold up. This is important.
Yeah.
What has she told you she will actually do?
I mean,
I'll give you my answer right after.
Okay. What has she personally said? Like, this is my plan to do?
Yeah. What has she told you she'll do?
Maybe. Yeah, you're right. That is a good question.
She doesn't know. She hasn't told you. All she does is complain. May I point out that she's obviously been very bad at fighting against it because she's been banned everywhere. That's a loser.
I mean, not
May
for
I
nothing.
point out?
Open another freaking
No,
account.
hold on. Let me point something else out. It does not take guts to go in front of anybody and yell at them when all you're doing is method acting, because they're never going to, what they say to you doesn't matter, and you're not responsible for changing their votes. She has not changed a law, a policy, she's changed no one's mind, and she has not advanced our case. What you need to do to fight against censorship is this. One, we need to go and recognize that we have already failed with our market solutions because we gave Facebook platform protection when they first started. That means that anybody who reposts stuff on their platform, they can't be sued for it because they'd go bankrupt. And at the same time, they have the rights of a publisher. That is something we can immediately go stop because we've given it to them. We can take it away.
It's one of either or.
That's the first thing we need to do. The second thing we need to do is recognize that censorship isn't just from these big companies. It's from the image that they're trying to waffle to make everybody pleased and happy. And that comes a lot from things like campuses and universities pushing stupid ideas that end up being plastered everywhere. Free speech on a campus is very linked to free speech on the internet, is what I'm trying to say. And we have every tool in the book to go to universities, and Donald Trump has started doing this, and say, if you do not support free speech, if you allow people like Ben Shapiro to be refused or to effectively be priced out of a speech on campus, we will yank every dime of your federal funds. And that's what we have to start doing. Because you start doing that, you hit them in the think tank machine where they have all of these academics who don't deliver anything but bad ideas, and they indoctrinate youth with bad ideas. You hit them there. Yeah. You hit the big companies, say, all right, time to choose. You want to be a publisher or a platform? Why should they get both? Right? You hit them on that too. We can also, I'm not opposed to going and revamping defamation laws. Right? There's some things we can do to make it more difficult to just blatantly lie or blatantly have anonymous sources. Those are actual things that Congress can do. Which one of those did Laura Loomer put on her website?
I don't know, but I'm going to make her watch this interview.
Well, why do you like her so? What is it you really like about her?
I'll take your concerns and actually fix it.
That's what I like. I like the fact that she's
just a little aggressive, like
yeah,
ballsy.
You met her.
Yeah, I know. She's kind of weird, but
yeah.
Well, you got to look
I'm not
at
trying
what she's
to talk.
actually done. Let's not.
I'm not
she
trying to
does
talk.
have balls. That's what she got. He's a punk rocker, so that's why he likes her. She's like,
When she got banned from the internet, she went to Alex Jones, a beacon of republicanism. I'm sure that'll help in her
Well, if we
election.
don't have to,
and she cried.
If we have nothing to worry about,
And she cried, saying,
she's
"No,
not
my life is ruined because I."
if she's not a serious candidate, why are we all talking about her right now?
No, she's a serious candidate for one reason:
Money.
No other reason.
I'm only talking about her because I want your vote. And what I'm
experience.
telling you is what you're concerned about, I'll fix better than she will. Because also, she's not going to get along with anybody in Congress. I'll get the
She's the
votes
AOC of the
necessary
GOP.
to fix that problem. So if that's what matters to you, I will fix it. And she's not.
Okay, I mean that's what I want fixed.
To be fair, to be fair,
I'm just saying.
Thank you.
you got to at least start with a plan, right?
Yeah, that's
the point.
It's a good plan. It's true.
At least it's three
I mean,
things
it's
we can
true.
immediately
You've
start
thought
doing.
about the plan. You've thought about a lot of. He's thought about a lot of things.
No, you got to give him credit for that.
You gotta
because
give him
the truth
credit.
of
He
the matter
knows-
is-
he knows where he's at on a
You
lot-
just proved what politics is about.
Yeah.
You just
Knowing-
showed,
Yes.
and you know a little bit more than the average bear.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, you just said, "Well, I'm sticking for her because she's gonna, the First Amendment, something internet thing," and that's what you said. But then when you were asked, and I'm not cracking
You're not
on
supposed
you,
to be an issue voter on. It's not supposed to be like one issue that.
But that's
leans
your
you-
one issue.
But it is my.
No,
when
he's gonna
it's-
rethink and he's
but
gonna
it's
come
only
support
one
us.
issue.
Absolutely.
When asked what has she said about it, you're like, yeah, I got nothing. And that's how people vote. They're out there.
Yeah, you got to have a plan. You got to have this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I have my
there's
plan.
a plan.
Boom.
I don't
That's
agree
what
with all of it.
But
I think
you're
that
going to
we
go
should
home
be
and
able to
think
say
it
whatever.
over and reconsider. You're
Now
going to
I'm
come to our side. You're going to come to our side.
It depends. Do you need custom T-shirts.
Do I need? Let's talk about that after the interview.
I will say that he gives good prices and a great product.
Hey,
And his guys
I do
work.
need T-shirts at one point.
And
That
I'm
is
just
true.
saying,
That is
Laura
true.
Loomer supports him. Mike Velarde supports him.
Oh, Mike got his T-shirts here.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I
a cool
brought Mike
guy.
over here.
Mike's a cool guy.
Yeah, no, Mike's a good guy. I don't agree with Social Security 100%, but, he's working on me. And
What's your question, Jermaine?
Oh,
I noticed they changed smoking age to 21.
Yes.
My only concern is that, you can go to the Army, like 318. You can get charged for a crime as an adult at 18. You can get a marijuana license and smoke weed at 18. You can't smoke cigarettes.
Okay, that's a good question.
So, what needs to be done is to change the legal age from an adult from 18 to 21. And that will save all the other.
Thank you, Jermaine. What do you think about that? What do you think about the
he's got to say what he's got to say. It's a state issue. Then he'll
That's a
entertain
state
it.
issue?
That's a state issue. It's got nothing to do with the federal government.
That wasn't a
It is a
federal.
state
That was a
issue.
federal thing, wasn't that?
No,
Federally
10th
raised.
Amendment, no, 10th Amendment. No, what the federal thing was the vaping deal.
yeah, the vaping deal was
Yeah.
federal.
But
That wasn't-
the states
that-
determined. Look, you could go. I remember. When
I thought that was raised federally.
No,
I'm
no.
sorry.
Like you could go when I was, and you should know this because we're from the same area. The drinking age was 19 in New York and 21 in New
my
Jersey.
parents
when
would
it
go.
changed.
My parents would go over the
Yeah,
line.
border. I
and-
used to go over Greenwood
and
Lake. It was amazing.
Go back
It's
to
such a
Connecticut where the blue
coincidence.
laws are, where you can't even get.
Paramus,
You can't even get beer.
Paramus,
on the
yeah.
weekends or
next to
whatever.
Asbury Park.
Yeah.
Well, I was in Pittsburgh, and you had to go to the state store to get liquor. And you go over the border to West Virginia, and like a gas station will have this giant cave with everything you could ever possibly drink, and it's just like staring at you in the face.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
you know,
so it is
state
a
laws
state
are
issue,
different.
yeah.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah, and the Fed should stay out of it.
Oh,
That's
so
why we
I
have the
didn't
10th
know that. I
Amendment.
thought that was a federal law that they had raised that federally up until 21 for smoking.
Not that I
No?
know of.
No,
I'll double check it.
Yeah.
that's a state
I
thing?
can't say that
I don't
my
smoke,
answer
so I
in
don't know.
general.
And I'm
Yeah,
old,
no.
so they don't even card me
My
anymore.
answer in general is I'm real big on doing things for a reason and not just because it's popular opinion or because it's whatever is giving me money. There's got to be some consistency.
Let's say that was
the argument does make sense. Why can you be drafted and go get shot
Yes.
at 18 or criminal charges, et cetera, and then we have a different standard?
Yes.
We need to have some level of consistency.
There needs to be consistency there. Either
How
what
we
Jermaine,
do it, I don't
Jermaine
know.
says is right. Either they raise the entire whatever is considered to be an adult to 21, or this stupid law needs to come back down to 18. Right? I mean, either one.
I will.
I mean, I don't
I'll
like.
actually ask some
I
of the
don't like
state reps
cigarettes.
what
Cigarettes,
happened.
Yeah, it's the
cigarettes are
federal.
gross and it kills you.
US
You get
FDA.
cancer. But
Is it US FDA?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was federal.
It is federal,
The
yeah.
one thing I have, which has to do with the vaping part specifically, I was real shocked when they found out it was some sort of like chemical burn that was occurring because of the construction. So it wasn't necessarily the oil or anything; it's a construction.
yeah,
I'm
they're all
sorry,
produced
but
in China.
the one question I have is, how was that not found during a testing process? Because this happened very rapidly after people started.
Well, you got to
vaping.
remember when you do the
What was the
testing,
cycle?
with the FDA, when you do the testing, you're allowed to have certain bad things happen as long as most of the good
Yeah,
things
but
happen.
they didn't find this in the
But
testing.
here's
The
the
testing
thing:
cycle
how
was too
bad
short.
does it have to be that vaping's been around for an hour before they go, "Oh, this is really bad. We got to do something about it." I mean,
It's
vaping
bad.
must have been real, and it is.
No,
really
the amount
bad
of
when
I
it
you
was
can't believe people
it
think
was
it's
chemical
good.
burns
It's
on
insane.
people's
No,
lungs.
when it fills cars up with this vapor, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And when
It
you
was
think
bad.
about it, I'd rather have someone smoke that got the smoker's cough with the flu and blow dry smoke in my face than sit there with the same cough and everything else with the flu and have that stuff in that water vapor that I'm sucking in. No.
Well, in
I'm against it.
theory, the vaping is supposed to be safer.
Yes, totally.
However, they made it, and this is look. I was an engineer. I was responsible for designing crap. If this type of thing happened to me, I'd be up in front of all kinds of boards, right?
No, you're all about safety.
What exactly?
You're Mr. Safety.
Well, what exactly happened at the FDA where they let the FDA will put other things through multi-year trials? How come the vaping didn't? I don't know. Whatever they did, I've got to go look at it in detail. But the problems happened literally 6 months after it started getting very popular. It is not slow for people to have chemical burns on their lungs. That should have been detected.
Yeah.
So I kind of am curious as to how that happened.
Yeah, no, that's pretty
It's
bad.
worth asking because
All right.
that is a failure of a protection
Yeah,
program.
yeah. We're
I've got to run
we're
because
winding
I got
down.
to sign the front of some paychecks.
Yeah, we're
You
out.
guys are gonna be
We're
pissed
out. We're
off.
out of here. We're out of here.
you're
Thank
out.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming down here. I appreciate you sitting in.
Yeah, a whole block I walk.
Yeah, I know you
Yeah.
got to go sign paychecks because, and that's what makes you
important.
qualified.
Guys will get mad.
That's what makes you qualified
That's always.
to be in politics in the first place. Mr. Acosta, thank you so much for coming down here. I
I
really
appreciate
appreciate you coming down to the sweatshop and having this discussion. Right?
Yeah, no, thanks for having me.
Is there
It's been
anything that we can
fantastic, and it's
crowbar?
fun.
Should we crowbar in anything at all before we end this? Is there anything that we can crowbar in for?
Well, I
you?
just want to make sure people know how they can reach me, how they can find me. www.voteacosta.com. I'm the right guy for Palm Beach County. I know we can win this district, and most importantly, I love this district. This is where I grew up. I want to represent it right, and I want to get benefits from Washington here, like your representative should have been doing for 8 years, but hasn't. So give me that chance. Voteacosta.com.
Thank you, sir. Here, let me have a handshake.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Pickles podcast. He always says that's me. With that look on his face, he'll talk about anything. Outstanding. Tattoos, t-shirts, politics, history, and hot sauce on everything.